Hey everyone, welcome back to another live broadcast. I'm not sure if you guys have already picked up on our new time already, but we are starting to push our live broadcast from originally being at the 11 o'clock time now to noon, just so that we can reach more of you, possibly during your lunch hour, or even if you're on your way to work in the mornings, or just getting in and settled and want to be able to jump on with us in the mornings if you're over on the West Coast. So we are testing out this time slot. We hope it's a great one for you. And we're going to continue going live with you guys on Facebook Live and also on YouTube. So I always love to see where you guys are joining in from. So go ahead and comment in and let us know who is with us this morning. And I have a pretty cool topic planned for you guys today. It's a little bit out of the box. I know we always talk about different customization that you can do for apparel, gifting ideas, but this is going to be more project specific and just things that you can be doing around some upcoming holidays. So the most obvious that we've been talking about is Halloween and of course Christmas and all of those, but we always happen to kind of skip over Thanksgiving. And I'm not sure why, but I'm going to be demoing 3 really just out of the box things that you can decorate for around Thanksgiving, and hopefully it can pull some inspiration for you. Good morning, Rudy, Laura, and Brian. I appreciate you guys joining in this morning. Whoa, a whole bunch of comments just came in. All right, so a lot of people joining in from YouTube and Facebook. So hello, everybody. Hello, hello. We're going to go ahead and just dive in. So we're going to be, like I said, doing 3 projects. And before we do all that, I'm going to weed everything live with you guys. I do have one piece weeded. And we're just going to be using our top heat transfer vinyl, ultra weed, and glitter flake. And then I'm also going to be using fashion foam electric in the color cranberry for one of the other projects. So the 3 projects that we're going to be doing is an apron for Thanksgiving, a placemat, and also a little wine bag. So if you happen to be going to a Friendsgiving or anything like that, these are just small little things that you could have customized to give as gifts or whatever around Thanksgiving. So the first color that we're going to be weeding is Ultra Weed, and this is in color cream. And this is all pretty basic fonts, and each design was created in cadworkslive.com. So we're not going to be spending too much time weeding or anything, but at least you guys get to see the products and how they weed firsthand. All right, so this is the first part of our apron design. And I actually pulled inspiration from Google Images on the Thanksgiving apron. They have some really cute stuff on there, just idea-wise of what you can put on the aprons. And then this color is one of our new colors we added in Glitter Flake. I believe it's called Harvest Red. And for those of you that haven't seen our Harvest Red whenever we launched it, it's a really pretty, like, warm red, and it has iridescent sparkles in it and a little bit of green. So not only is this going to be a really great glitter color for this time of year, but also into Christmas as well. So it's going to work for both autumn and winter holidays. Right now I'm just weeding out the rest of these cavities. Have some small detail over on the side here. All right, so that's the rest of our apron design. All right, so it says hot stuffing coming through. Perfect for the cook, right? All right, so we're gonna put that, we're gonna pair these 2 colors on a brown apron. All right, so these will really pop off of there. All right, so that is our first project that we're going to do for inspiration for Thanksgiving. The next one we're going to do is a wine bag. And all of the items that we are printing today were all sourced from Sanmar. So just keep that in mind whenever you're thinking of where you can get stuff wholesale. Of course, Sanmar is going to be a really great resource for that. And if you are just doing like one-off pieces as well, other great resources for picking stuff up just locally are like craft stores. A lot of craft stores carry like one-off items like this. My detail on the bottom of this design did not cut perfectly, so I'm being very careful with how I remove this. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is our brown glitter flake. We launched this last year. It was in very high demand. It was like very highly requested that we come out with another color of brown. Something a little lighter than the darker brown that we had. There's a lot of cavities in this text, but this is a popular text style. So I'm not sure if you guys remember when we were doing a lot of the split text effects, and we would have to go in and create this effect within there. But this font actually does it for you. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, so I will be sure to revisit the comment section later and type in and let you know what font we are using for this, if you guys like that split text open cavity effect. I'm not sure why the bottom piece of this didn't cut as well. But we're going to push through so that we can have a completed design. Looks like I am missing, I didn't notice this at first, but I'm definitely missing an E on the end of my word here. Because it says right now, it says feeling thin. So we're gonna go back into our excess material where we weeded that away and just pull that out of there and drop it right back in. That's what I really like about working with HTV that has a tacky carrier, because you can just drop it in right where it popped out. All right, so we got that back in. There are still some cavities within that E that need to come out though, so I'm just going to carefully pull those out just to make sure that I'm not ripping it back off of its carrier. Like I just did. That's okay. We'll just stick it right back down. All right, so we have our turkey in Feelin' Fine text done. Now this is where I am incorporating the Fashion Film Electric in the color Cranberry. This material weeds so easily as well. So in comparison to Ultra Weed, I would say that Fashion Film Electric, definitely very similar in how thin the material is. However, it just doesn't weed as easily, even though it still is a fairly easy product to weed. Ultra Weed just peels away like butter and has less breaking points, whereas this one you'll experience a little bit more breaking with. All right, so that is for our wine bag, and that's going on this little canvas bag. And we're going to be working over top of seams for this application. So whenever we do this, we need to make sure that we are using a heat printing pillow so that we aren't messing that up at all. But heat transfer vinyl, a common misconception is that it can't go over the top of seams. If the seams are super, super thick, then you'll probably experience that. But these seams are something that the heat transfer vinyl can actually just sink down into, especially if you are using a heat printing pillow. So that's going to allow that heat transfer vinyl adhesive to really sink down into those seams. So we won't have to worry about it picking up off of the canvas where those seams are. Great. And our last application we're going to be doing, I already went ahead and weeded this away just because there are a lot of like intricate cavities in this one. But we are using the new, I forget what we called this one, but this is our new glitter flake. We launched it the same time that we launched the Harvest Red that we're using on the apron. And that's what this color is. And I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the name of it. Hello, hi from Seattle, Arizona. Glad you were finally able to catch a live with us. Hi, Patrice. I have been missing coming to Texas and doing shows there. That was always one of my favorite places to visit whenever we did trade shows. So I am like super anxious to be able to get back into doing trade shows and traveling again because I want to go back to Texas. I'm honestly just thinking about booking a trip to Austin. Hello, Natalie. Thanks for joining. All right, so what should we do first? Let's go ahead and do our single color glitter flake application. And I don't know why this happens every single time, but let's see here. I like to use my second screen with you guys so that you guys can get a good view of what we're doing at the heat press. And for some reason, I get pushed out sometimes. Okay. All right, so let's add this to the stream. Here we go. Okay. All right, so for our first application, we're going to do that placemat. And this was actually sourced. So earlier I told you that I sourced most of these items from Sanmar. This one was definitely from Hobby Lobby, but the other two items that we're going to be heat applying are from Sanmar. But if you're just doing one-off little items like this that are holiday inspired, then craft stores are honestly a go-to for that sort of thing. And I just really love the colors in this because I think they're very like harvesty and festive for Thanksgiving. Right, and this color of glitter flake is teak wood. So thank you, Stalls All Things Heat Printing, for commenting in and reminding me of the color of this. But yes, this is called teak wood. And just for safe measure, just always use a craft paper cover sheet or Teflon cover sheet, anything to really just protect your upper platen from getting any adhesive or anything possibly on the bottom platen to the upper platen. Glitter flake applies as low as 300 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds, and it's a hot peel, so a really easy product to work with. Hard to mess up its application, and it's great for printing any cotton polyester stuff. So that's why something like this is super easy to just make for friends and family, or even just something if you're looking to add for customization or add-on sales for around Thanksgiving. Right, but I'll hold that up close to the camera so that you can see the finish of the teak wood. Right, so really nice thing to just be able to add to the table. This could even be something that's used as decoration by the oven in a kitchen. So a lot of different things that you can do here. All right, that's teak wood for a placemat. So that is our first application. The next application, let's go ahead and do the apron. All right, so I always typically source my aprons from Sanmar just because it's a really quick buy. But their Port Authority brand does a lot of really nice aprons. So whenever I load this on, I'm just making sure to put that strap in the back. We do have a lot of fuzzies on this, so I'm going to try to remove those. This was next to a Sherpa blanket in the box that I have, so lots of that transferred over. That's what's nice. A lot of people will just keep a lint roller right next to their heat press. I'm fresh out of lint roller stickies, so I need to get some new ones to keep next to my heat press. All right, so quick preheat. This is a cotton poly blend apron, and we are doing mixed media, so we want to make sure that we are using the right time and temperature for the two products that we're using. So anytime you're working with a mixed media design, you want to make sure that you are using a temperature that goes with the highest temp needed for the products being used. So Ultra Weed, for example, it applies as low as 260 degrees. However, our glitter flake has to apply at 300 degrees as a minimum. So we want to make sure that our heat press is definitely set to 300 degrees so that we can make sure that the adhesive for this material is curing and it's not going to damage the Ultra Weed in any way. With glitter flake, you can use the tacking method. So I just leave that on there for about 3 to 5 seconds and tack it. It gets the adhesive cured enough so that we can apply it without having to cure it for its entire duration. And then we can drop in our second product. And when we heat apply this one, it will cure the glitter flake that was just tacked on there for a few seconds. So this will apply for the full 10 seconds it needs to be able to cure Ultra Weed and glitter flake together. I must have accidentally moved that whenever I placed my cover sheet down. So that got shifted significantly and now it looks terrible, but oh well, we're just going to cure it as is. The top of my T did not apply, so that's why I'm hitting it for a second time. So lesson learned there, whenever you are placing your cover sheet, just be sure that you don't accidentally hit the transfer you just placed or something like this will happen. So now we have our Ultra Weed overlapping our glitter flake, which is a big no-no, especially if things are being thrown into the wash. But at least you guys get the idea and the inspiration from pairing Ultra Weed and glitter flake together and doing something fun like an apron for the cook around the holidays. So once again, the colors used for this was Ultra Weed in cream and then our new Harvest Red in glitter flake. I think those two colors pair really, really nicely together. It's really bright on my screen. I'm not sure if it's coming off that way for you guys where this looks more like a white, but in person, this has a very more like muted pale yellow almost type of color. But that is that cream color. All right. And our last application will be the little wine bag. And again, we are using glitter flake and fashion film electric for this. And of course, since we are applying over top of those seams, we want to make sure we are using a pillow so those thick seams can sink down into this, but keep the print area in which the heat transfer vinyl needs at a nice flat, even pressure. So we're just going to place our pillow down on the platen there. And we're going to test our pressure by laying both of these items on the platen and just locking that down without any transfer there or anything. So I'm at a pretty firm pressure. So I'm going to dial this back about 3 turns. And now I'm at a nice firm pressure. I do want to be at a firmer pressure because I want to make sure that these seams are definitely sinking down into that pillow. So my first application I'm going to do is going to be the glitter flake because that is the largest part of my design and that's going to help with easier alignment. And anytime I am working with a bag, like a wine bag, a tote bag, a purse, anything like that, I want to make sure that I am using, or not using, but placing my transfer up a little further from middle of the bag. Because once this starts to get filled up, it'll look as though my design is dropping. So just make sure that you're going a little bit above middle so that that doesn't happen to anything that you're applying when it comes to bags. Patrice, thank you. We do all make mistakes. Cassandra, yeah, I do like those colors paired together. And Candy says, I love that Jenna doesn't sugarcoat things. We learn even from the mistakes. Yes, thank you. I'm glad that I can do the mistakes for you guys since I'm not actually selling these items. I'm just making them to show you guys different things that you can do. But you guys can learn from my mistakes so that you don't repeat what I do whenever you're actually making stuff for your customers. All right, so placing my last piece. I'm going to make sure that my adhesive's cured over here. It is. It's just the way that that's placed over top of that seam. All right. And we'll just lock that in place. And fashion film actually applies at 320 degrees. So technically for that application, what I would want to do is increase my temperature an additional 20 seconds and, or not 20 seconds, but 20 degrees and apply at the fashion film setting since fashion film electric does need that higher temperature. For the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to leave it as is because I know that it will still apply fine at 300. Wouldn't necessarily hold up in the wash cycle, right? So we didn't even get the end to apply there. But I'm going to go from the E and pull over. And that's more or less a pressure issue. So what I can do with that there, since it's so close to that seam, that's probably why it didn't heat apply accurately. What I can do is just lift this back up using my easy weeder, my easy weeding tool, and just kind of readjust where I would want that to apply and just lay it right back on that pillow and cure it once more. Right, so never be afraid to readjust, cover with a cover sheet, and heat apply again so that you can get that accurate application that you guys need. Yes, that was definitely the inspiration, using all fall colors. All right, so we got that to apply. It's a little wobbly looking, but it still turned out nice color-wise. And again, this was created in cadworkslive.com. I pulled a lot of the inspiration for each of these things off of Google Images and also Pinterest. So you guys have probably seen this little slogan used a lot on like hoodies and t-shirts and things, but I thought it would be so perfect for a gift bag or a gift item to be able to put a little wine bottle in if your customers are doing Friendsgivings, or just even something to give as a gift for whoever's house you may be going to for Thanksgiving, things like that. All right, so to wrap up, let's just review what we did once more. So we have our wine bag where we used our brown glitter flake and our fashion film electric cranberry. So that gives you a little bit of a metallic color. So that's one thing that I want to ensure that you guys understand about this material is it has a bit of a metallic finish. So it could come off as just a glossy finish through the camera, but what you're actually seeing there is a bit of a metallic-like sheen, not to the point where it's like a high shine foil-like finish, but just something to add a little bit of texture to your heat transfer vinyl designs. So I really love Fashion Foam Electric for that reason. Then we also have our placemat, which we used our teak wood glitter flake for. And I think that that color pairs so perfectly with the color scheme of this placemat as well. And then we also used our cream Ultra Weed heat transfer vinyl with our Harvest Red glitter flake, right? So Ultra Weed and glitter flake. I did totally mess up the placement of this one once it shifted whenever I covered with a cover sheet. But ultimately, I think these three colors pair really well together, especially if you're doing a dark type of substrate such as this. All right. And Sherry asked, I like the faded print. What is it called? The faded print. Oh, is it the font maybe? Just want to confirm that I'm going to answer your question correctly. Yeah, once the wine bottle's in there, it won't be as noticeable. Wobbly works on the wine bag. Yeah. And then we have a question, what about putting the pillow inside of the bag? So we do offer skinnier pillows where I could have inserted it. It's actually called our leg and sleeve pillow, which I would have loved to use for this application because it would have gotten an even flatter pressure because we only would have been working on the seam, like on top of the seams from the front side of the bag as opposed to the front and back side. So if I would have had that pillow accessory, that's why it's so important to just always make sure you have the extra accessories you need when heat printing. But I didn't have it, so that's why we had to use both. But I would have just inserted that skinnier pillow in there, and that would have made this application that much easier. Right. All right, so looks like we have all of the questions answered. Okay. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back with you guys again next week. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, for those of you that were joining us at 11 every Tuesday and Thursday, we are pushing those times to 12 p.m. So I will see you guys next Thursday. Kelly will be back with you guys on Tuesday. And don't forget to add us on our Instagram channel at Stahl's Heat Printing, because we are constantly putting new videos onto our reels there, which really just add a lot of inspiration when it comes to coming up with new ideas for heat printing. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel where we are constantly pushing new content 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, always uploading new videos there. So that's the Stahl's TV YouTube channel. But thanks again for joining us, and I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.